Hey, how's it going YouTube? Today we're going to be doing a Wuthering Waves ASMR. We have an event where the community members have written a short essay so that they can win a grand prize. So there are 3 winners and 7 contestants. So these 7 contestants currently are Yuki, Fool, Cola Cola, Ra, Fishy, Ayame, Turgiman. With that out of the way, decide in the comments as well if you want to have someone win. So let's get this started. So the first one is from Yuki, and she said, 2 months ago, Kuro Games, the developer of Wuthering Waves, known for their work on the hit game Punishing Grey Raven, announced the game's official release date. Many players, including myself, who enjoyed gacha games, began pre-registering in the excitement for the game. So what is Wuthering Waves? Wuthering Waves is an open-world action RPG gacha game featuring beautiful characters such as my favorite, Yen Lin. As you can see, she's a puppet user with an exotic traditional outfit with cute elf ears, making her the first elf character in the game that is going to be playable. She will be released on June 12th on her limited banner, and I'm really curious as to know how her story is going to unravel, especially when she uses her puppet. My strategy upon release will be to either get Kalcharo or Reina from the starter banner, then I will focus on getting the other 5-star character I did not get from the selector banner. Once Yenlin is released, my dream will be to get Kalcharo, Yenlin, and Reina as the main team. What I like/enjoy about the game the most is that the combat mechanics are amazing. You get so much freedom to do what you like, and it's satisfying to parry or dodge. Some bosses in the story even taunt you, waiting for you to attack. The movement doesn't really feel like a chore, and the stamina management is also incredibly well done. For example, running on walls, using your grappler to swing around like Batman, or even doing backflips. You can also even use your grappling hook in combat to dodge or do a plunge attack. I love fighting with style because it feels satisfying and enjoyable to watch. The swap mechanic also feels very fluent. You can do a skill and swap, and the character will continue to perform their skill, giving you the opportunity to create amazing combos. Lastly, one of the most fun mechanics are the echoes. Echoes are basically like Pokemons that you can farm in the open world, using them as relics or equipments. There is another slot that allows you to use the power of one echo in battle, providing you with more combat potential or even buffs and iframes. Wuthering Waves developer, known as Kuro Games, are actively engaging with the community at a rapid pace. Recently, some players have announced have encountered issues with the game, such as loading problems and bugs. Therefore, the developers have provided free rewards as an apology, including an extra 10 lustrous tides, a free 5-star selector, which will be available from the 5th of 26th at 10 o'clock UTC plus 8 until 2025 at 11:59 p.m. In total, you can get 2 free 5 stars at the start of the journey in the game. Let's hope that the developers of Wuthering Waves will continue to be this generous in future updates. Who knows? We might even get our free 5-star limited character, just like when in Honkai Star Rail won prizes and rewarded their community with a free 5-star limited character named Dr. Ratio. I hope other open-world action RPG gacha games, such as Genshin Impact, will view this game as a competitive battle between them to make themselves a better game. In summary, the game's visuals and world are amazing, and I just hope that they add more stunning characters in the future. I just can't wait to get Chong-Li in 1.1 and many other characters from the story. Okay. Then there's this. Okay. Nice. Okay. So, what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think of Yuki's essay so far? That was really good. Okay, nice. Yeah, I really like the visuals. The visuals are honestly quite stunning. Looks beautiful. Essay made by the one and only Fool. So, the title starts as Reduction of Hortus Population Due to the Effects of Hortus on Solaris 3 by Meow Meow 3, which is Fool. Okay. So, a mild introduction to Hortus provided by the Echo Hunting Association. Hortus are species of tortoise-like amphibious creatures often found around riverbanks. The shells on their backs are embedded with pieces of frost crystals. These creatures favor a cold environment for naps. A warmer surrounding will take up a Hortus as well as kindle its hot temperature nature. It is a fact that Hortuses are evolving rapidly, whether it is physicality and the ability to adapt to different climates or their dietary preferences. Hortuses are adapting faster than any other living being on Solaris 3 due to their drastic change in habitats. Evolution isn't instant. It takes time for all species to evolve. Hortuses are known to evolve and adapt faster than other species. So the Hortus diet, they are omnivorous creatures. Their usual diets consist of many types of plants and riverfish. Hortuses do not have teeth. Instead, their mouths have a hard and sharp edge that they use to bite with, similar to a bird's beak. In the Hortus's natural environments, the previous giant banyan and the tolling stream, there are no other creatures that the Hortuses can eat. An example would be the fish. Hence, that is why their diet consists of only herbs, flower, and shrubs. The Hortus that migrated towards the warmer climates have access to meat and fish. The Hortuses have been observed to be eating meat and river fish in these areas. It is not known how Hortuses are able to hunt for river fish since they cannot swim in deep river water, but it is theorized that they hunt for river fish in shallow waters. A shallow river water has a perfect equilibrium for fish having the ability to swim through it and Hortuses being able to hunt without drowning. The giant banyan, used for one of the Hortuses' natural habitats before the quest with the title When the Forest is No Longer Dim, it contradicts the Hortus's evolution point. The giant banyan has recently undergone a climate shift due to the decontamination of offshoot cores handled by a researcher and the famous rover. This turned the great banyan from a contaminated, freezing environment to a lush, warm, and green environment. The previous environment only allowed elemental prisms and Hortuses to survive, and this was due to the harsh weather, and the diet consisted of mushrooms and shrubbery. Nowadays, the giant banyan is home to many species such as rushroom, spearbacks, chiefs, and hookams, to name a few. After the climate shifted into a warmer climate, the Hortuses disappeared, leading to a more ecological diversity in the area. It is not known whether the Hortuses that lived in this area have immigrated to other bodies of water or have been exterminated due to the sudden change in the climate, not allowing the Hortuses to adapt like they did from the tolling stream. Now, what is the tolling stream? Well, the tolling stream is the only environment in Solaris 3 that is permanently frozen. This is due to the giant Hortus that occupies the lake. The famous Bellborn geocolon is known for the thrilling and intimidating appearance. This Hortus is a large mutant organism with a large bell on its back that deals extreme lethal damage when rung. A parent of a young child has left an investigation report in their tolling stream that suggests that only creatures with the inhabitant which inhabit the area other than the Bellborn geocolon are similar Hortus. One could say that the reason for the little diversity in this area is due to the freezing temperatures, but the report mentioned that the geocolon is a highly intimidating creature that may scare other organisms living in this area. So the conclusions from the Hortus natural environment. The Great Banyan and the Tolling Stream used to share a similarity, that being the cold climate, the lack of ecodiversity, and a force that made each of the environments and where they were in the case of the Great Banyan. In the Great Banyan, the forces were offshoot cores contaminating and freezing the area, making it impossible for any of the creatures that is not an elemental prism or a Hortus. The frost clears on the Hortus' bodies force the area around them to be cooler than the areas that don't have Hortuses near them. A special, extreme case of this can be seen from the Bellborn geocolon. The mutated creature transformed a huge area into a lifeless, freezing lake. The Tolling Stream used to be a lifeful, luscious lake. That environment was destroyed by the giant Hortus. What we can learn from these areas is that where there are Hortuses, there is a lack of ecodiversity. Explorers that went to a Tolling Stream and the giant Banyan before the climate shift have reported that the areas look dead and uneventful. I hypothesized that these reactions to the mentioned areas are due to the lack of ecodiversity. To increase ecodiversity and therefore increase the appeal of the other creatures to live in the Tolling Stream, we will need to take measures towards reducing the population or exterminating Hortus. So the Hortus interactions are independent creatures. Although in the wild, Hortuses are solitude and independence are seen to not only be mutually exclusive, but indeed correlated. There have been many cases where Hortus was absorbed to both live independently and in solitude by themselves. In said observed cases, the Hortus displayed more confidence in the survival skill and more ability to control the space around them than Hortuses found in pairs of Hortus. Or two more Hortuses. There has been observation of a pack of 4 Hortuses, but we have more data suggesting Hortuses like living and spending time alone. Hortuses also sometimes live with other creatures, such as young and mature rostrum, elemental prisms, and a variety of small creatures. Our observations show that despite the Hortuses not living in solitude, the creatures pertains its independent behaviors. Hortuses can also be fun animal at times, as some Hortuses enjoy playing with water, gargling water, and dancing near bodies of water. It was not expected to observe fun behaviors from cranky animals, specifically from Hortuses which are known to have short temper. So the sudden Hortus population growth. Hortuses have recently adapted to the ability to survive and live comfortably in non-freezing climates. This increased rate of Hortus migration out of the Tolling Stream into the nearby warmer rivers has made it more difficult for other creatures to hunt, which had rivers as their natural since before the Hortus came to those areas. Fish also have struggled to maintain their population. This made the fish adapt by laying more eggs in hopes of more fish surviving to reproduce. This change made the population of said fish in rivers and lakes following the one where Hortuses are inhabited much larger. Wherever there's more water and more food, you'll find Hortuses. The influx or Hortuses pushes more Hortuses to settle in further rivers. We will never know when or where they will stop. There could be a possibility of Hortuses mutations, helping them in other climates such as those without a water source as an example. There have been many theories for how these Hortuses end up in warmer climates. One theory suggests that there is a pair of Hortuses that fell on their backs and floated from the tolling stream to nearby rivers. It is said that a pair muted and their offsprings floated to other areas like their parents, and this cycle continued. So the aims of the study are to see a total annihilation of the Hortus population within the tolling stream and the Bellborn geocolon, and outside of it to enforce a warmer climate than the one that is currently in the tolling stream. And reintroducing species like such as the dead mane, the saber boar, the spearback, and more. Once the temperature in the areas rises, we would allow some hortuses from the nearby rivers to migrate into the tolling stream, while paying attention to the temperatures and making sure that the frost crystals don't cause any harm to the environment. 3. Reduction of Hortus population outside the tolling stream. So the procedure to start this, we would dispatch a team of echo hunters and a resonator preferably to kill every single Hortus in the tolling stream, including the Bellborn geocolon. Once the area changes to suit the former local species, they should naturally migrate towards it and in the tolling stream. The former local species would not reliably settle and live in the tolling stream. Human action will be deployed. Said human action will mildly terraform a suitable living environment for the former local species to help with the area transformation into what it used to be. If we encounter Hortus attempting to resettle in the tolling stream at this stage, they would be eliminated. For the second aim, once there's a stable, diverse ecosystem within the tolling stream, we would allow the Hortuses to pass into the area. In case we encounter overpopulation or a reversation of the environment, the Hortus population would be reduced by human intervention. For the last aim, I would like to introduce a natural predator for Hortuses to lower and maintain Hortus populations. The introduction to a natural predator would encourage the Hortuses to either lay more eggs to reproduce or develop other measures for maintaining population, such as growing wings as an example. The second aim and the third aim be executed at the same time. Now the alternative procedure for the first aim is that we would dispatch a team of echo hunters to deal with the Hortuses, but instead of eliminating the Bellborn geocolon, it would be taken away to a regulated facility and produce ice for the citizens of Jinzhou. This makes ice way more affordable, and the only cost is to feed the giant Hortuses and maintain the newly built ice-making facility. So after the procedure is executed, we are expecting the tolling stream to be an ecological diverse area. The area will thrive comparing to its static frozen past. The Hortuses would become a less harmful species that can peacefully coexist with other creatures without causing any harm to the environment or creatures that live near them. If we execute the alternative procedure, we would additionally benefit from an abundance of ice. We can partially divert from electric refrigeration to refrigeration, which makes the use of ice instead. This will boost the market share of any industries that will make use of the refrigeration or cooling, as it will be more affordable to refrigerate and cool items or areas. So the conclusions. 1. Boost ecological diversity within the tolling stream. 2. Reduce the Hortus population both naturally and with a human intervention. 3. Warmer environments due to the drop of Hortus population. And 4. Making ice production cheaper and faster using the Bellborn geocolon's frost crystal. Notes: I am a Hortus hater. I absolutely despise these little creatures. If it were up to me, I would massacre them off of this plane of existence with other people might call Solaris 3. For the conclusion, I have used the alternative Aim 1 procedure. Most of the writing is fictional and hypothetical. Do not genocide tortoises before you read everything thoroughly, because for you to join my experiment, you would need to officially be a tortoise hater. All right, that's it. So that one was much longer than the other ones. However, I do really appreciate the detail that's going into this essay. That was quite impressive. That is very impressive. The fact that you also provided alternatives to, destroying the tortoises, very impressive. Pretty interesting as well. So the third essay is called The Three Lurking Pricks. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. Rover, and this is the story in how I got reincarnated in a fantasy world and how I died again. Originally, I came from a place called Earth. Earth was full of life, food, and general problems. Do you believe it? There's a thing called taxes. A loud clap echoes as the main character claps their hands facing the audience. Yes, you. Anyways, I'm going off topic. I don't really remember much from my old life, but what I do remember is a bright red light, a weird hamster, and the resonance of my head going splat against the nearby pavement. Moments later, I woke up in this strange new world that seems to work on resonance, memories, and weird rain that summons monsters for some reason want to murder you, and you guessed it, me and my new waifus. Yes, I now have an army of waifus who just seem to keep popping up. Saying this is my biggest fear is with how memories can come back to life through the rain. What if the truck just hit me comes back? What can I do against a truck? In this world, I'm using a sword. A sword versus a truck. The truck is going to smash me. Mr. Rover spent the first few days of his life here fighting monsters, meeting women, and one furry, and exploring the world, collecting everything that he could do to increase his power, and the strongest of the motivations driving his every step to protect the waifus. The most devastating battle being the one against a guy in the red called Scar. Scar had clearly been in the world far longer than Mr. Rover and understood the mechanics much greater standard. Something about black sheep, sacrifice sheep for wishes. It was certainly a reference to the gacha power Mr. Rover had access to. Scar would engage by stealing one of the waifus and capturing them in a card, really establishing himself as the true villain in Mr. Rover's journey. It wasn't until he released his domain expansion did things get serious, and Mr. Rover used his access of gacha power to evolve himself into a higher evolution that he called Super Saiyan Gear 5. His hair turned white and grew long right down to his ankles. His sword doubled in size, and his clothes gained more swag as he ripped Scar to shreds with electrical power and a fury of heavy attacks. At the end of the combat, the waifus would show up acting as if they've been saved by the day. Hold up. The battle with Scar was good, but it was like a 3 calamity monster hiding together that are the real beasts of the world. As mentioned before, Mr. Rover spends a lot of time exploring the world to get stronger, and it was one of these explorations that he knew he effed up, which resulted in the glowing red lights once again putting his head in the pavement. Yes, this is true. I died again to the red lights. I entered a cave exploring a few monsters and entered a code to a door 2545-2314 or something. Coming across a pack of red glowing scorpions, Mr. Rover engaged, assuming that they were like all other monsters in the world. But his attacks did nothing, and despite dodging, parrying, and avoiding many attacks, Mr. Rover's sword broke in half as it clashed with the glowing red claws. With the stinger on the back The 3 scorpions plunged their stingers into Mr. Rover's face, mirroring the light of the truck from before. Mr. Rover died. Upon reaching the glowing red scorpions, with 3 shots, he found himself dead and no waifu showed up to save him. The girls hate bugs. Shut up, you're dead. His last thoughts to himself were, why was the only guy I met the villain and no furry, and no, the furry doesn't count. The end. Okay, not bad. That was a pretty funny essay, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. And I appreciate that you highlighted the text. So it was pretty interesting. 3 lurking pricks. Okay. Alright, so let's move on to the 4th essay. And the 4th essay was made by Ra. So the 4th essay starts off with, I am an average free-to-play player, except I'm not. Let me give you some context. So the context behind this is why you should buy Ra a battle pass. So 1, I am an average free-to-play player, except I'm not. I work hard 24 hours a day grinding on Wuthering Waves without getting paid. Harder than any other free-to-play player, I am grinding on 3 different accounts because Wuthering Waves is so fun and because I want to try to hack my way to get more different characters without spending money. Because I don't have money. And I do all of this because of my sheer admiration and appreciation for an elite game like Wuthering Waves. And because I'm unemployed and have a bit of time on my hands. I personally love playing free-to-play. Nah, I just don't have money. Because it feels like I've earned it, and when I win a character that I've been saving for, I'm managing 3 accounts on my own, but it can't possibly hurt to get a battle pass, at least one of them, right? Please, I'm writing all of this with 0 hours of sleep. Please take pity on me. I deserve a battle pass for my hard work. I think you should really consider buying me a battle pass, because in doing so, it will set an example to Wuthering Waves players that all of their hours of non-stop, unpaid, hard work might someday get rewarded, and that their hard work does matter, and that they are seen. I feel proud knowing that I might influence other players to keep chatting around proudly. 2. Although weapon banner is guaranteed, it'll still take quite a while to get the weapon, whether it'll be on standard or limited banner, as a free-to-play managing 3 accounts, 4 in a few months. Especially considering I will be pulling for limited characters too, and will spend all of my early game standard pulls on character selector banner, which will also take a lot of time and hard work when managing 3 accounts. I'm hoping to get a little bit of a boost to help me through my Wuthering Waves adventure on these 3 accounts by getting some extra force and a really good weapon early. Please, I would really appreciate it. Please. And 3, I have a pet turtle named Strawberry, and she lives an expensive life. I work hard trying to give her the best life a turtle could ever have on Earth, and I love her a lot. She knows about this essay, and she is rooting for me to take the win and truly believes I will. In Strawberry's world, I am the best Who man because I've been raising her with a lot of love and care. You don't want Strawberry to lose her great view on her one and only Papa, right? So grant me a battle pass, please. 4. I have a few friends who I'm going to be in co-op echo farming with, and I'd like to be the one to carry them for real. Sorry, y'all. Most of these said friends has money and uses it for pulls or battle passes. How could I ever carry as a free-to-play player with these odds against me? Especially considering, again, that I'm grinding on 3 accounts free-to-play unless I'm a superhuman who can split my body, making 3 different copies that can each work at the same level and buy 3 PCs so each body can lock in on one account 24/7. I'm never carry. So please understand why it's so important for me to win the battle pass. Please, I'm begging, please. 5. I'm planning on playing Wuthering Waves for as long as I'm alive. Yes, Wuthering Waves have given me the will to live, which is crazy. And as someone who plans to play for a really long time, I would love to be able to play with a Battle Pass weapon within that time. I mean, why wouldn't I? It's an opportunity to have a fun playing around with characters using said weapon, testing their damage, and whatnot, blah blah blah. 6. I need Yinlin. As someone who wants Yinlin too, I'm sure you understand how badly I need her. Yinlin is one of the best limited 5-star characters in the Wuthering Waves for me right now. And in this godly fan art made by Faker, you can see why Yinlin is not just gonna be an OP support for my future Kelcharo, but I also want to use her as the DPS, as one should. In this case, I really need a Battle Pass and a Lunar subscription because again, I am grinding on 3 accounts, and the one where Mommy Yinlin will be in is my main. But before pulling Yinlin, I am pulling for Xian's weapon right now so I can give it to Kelcharo. Again, I am free to play on 3 different accounts. I won't have enough asteroids to get both the weapon and Yinlin in time so I can carry my friends in co-op. 7. I lost my first standard banner before the select banner to a pink child that I do not admire, and I am feeling very sad and depressed about this. If you care and want me to feel better, please buy me the Battle Pass. It will really cheer me up. 8. I really want Lumingloss for my rover. This concludes the essay on why you should buy Raw a Battle Pass. Sorry if I made any writing mistakes. English is my second language. Okay. That was pretty nice. I really like the drawings. This is Strawberry, and this is the the fan art that I drew. So that definitely was pretty interesting. I will tell you that. Very interesting. Alright, so let's start this. The Average Day in Wuthering Waves by Fish. From the perspective of Rover. The warm summer breeze of Jinshao brought back memories unfamiliar to me, while the soft grass gently brushed beneath my legs. My eyes were directed towards the tree behind me. I could see Yang Yang sitting atop the nearest branch, and as she sweetly played calming melodies on a brass flute that was engraved with a feather-like pattern. As my eyes focused downwards, I saw Baji not too far from me, sitting at the foot of the tree, resting against the dampened bark. I had never seen her this relaxed before, but given the current conditions, it did not feel out of place. On the other hand, Chisa was running around the vast meadow that lay before us, without a care in the world, joyfully performing cartwheels and somersaults through the short grass and flower patches. As time flew by, we slowly started to lose sight of Chisa. The sky grew dim, and the wind blew hard. The rest of us did decide that it would be a good idea to head back into the city. We called out Chisa's name, but to no response. She must be hiding in that patch of taller grass over there, I said, pointing in its direction. Chisa does indeed strike me as the type of person to pull these kind of pranks, said Baiji, returning to her usual tone of voice. We have to find her quickly, before it starts to rain. Yang Yang said with urgency. We all ran down the small hill that the tree was on and began our search for Chisa. The wind continued to blow even harder, and it slowly became more difficult to run through it. Our worried cries for Chisa to come back were dampened by the unstoppable bashing of the wind on our faces. Eventually, we arrived at the tall grass that I speculated her to be in. I spread out the blades of foliage in front of me to reveal something that could only be dreamt of in nightmares. Upon seeing it, my entire body pulled back in shock. It was a sickly-looking tacit discord with long, dark, red hair. Its eyes were completely pitch black and still emotionless. Chisa, we all said in horror. After it heard us, One of its long, slanky arms reached out at me. It grabbed the bottom of my shirt, and as I resisted, the fabric ripped. Tacit Discords, who we once knew as our friend Chisa, was beginning to rise out of the grass, and as we started running away, grasping onto the strands of hope that this was all just a dream, rain started to pour down hard onto our heads, and the winds became even stronger. We frantically sprinting through the mud when all of a sudden, even more monsters began appearing behind us, chasing us with the incredible speeds. In the distance, we could make out what seemed to be a supply station, the small building that had the garage door and a side entrance. Suddenly, the rain froze in place and eventually started to fall upwards. We now had water flowing up our faces and into our eyes. We could no longer differentiate the raindrops from the tears that we share for our lost companion. We were approaching the building rapidly and were about 20 meters away from it when Yang Yang tripped in the slick mud and fell down behind us. Baixi and I could hear her hit the ground, but when we turned around to help her back up, the TDs were approaching too quickly for us to have time to assist her. "Don't worry about me, just run," she screamed. There's nothing we could do. We continued running towards the supply building and eventually coming to a short stop to look back at Yang Yang. The Tacit Discords surrounding her body as it rose from the ground, all mangled and misshaped. Her limbs were bending in unnatural ways. The sight was truly disturbing. Her skin began to form goosebumps that were getting bigger and bigger, moving around her skin and reshaping her form. Her eyes were slowly enveloped in a dark liquid, and she looked up at us with black tear flowing down her cheek. She then inwardly combusted, splattering the mysterious black liquid onto our faces. From underneath what was once her skin, now came a newly formed Tacit Discord, similar to the flautist, with many small yet sleek wings, clothed in black feathers with white tips that were wrapping around its body. I had never heard a Baiji shriek so loudly before than at this moment. My heart was screaming from within, yet I remained silent. I could not bear to watch any longer. I grabbed Baiji's arm and pulled her with me as I ran towards the building, at the front of the building. We finally made it and quickly slid underneath the garage door before shutting it closed. We both sat down against the nearest wall and let the tears flow out. I took many deep breaths, and once I was ready, I stood up and began looking around the room. Baiji clearly needed more time to process all that just happened, so I tried to find something to help her. Eventually, I came across a small lamb plushie with white wool and small horns. Its eyes were swirling that gave me a headache when looking at them for too long. I showed Baiji the plush. Sniff. "What am I supposed to do with this?" Sniffs 2 more times. She asked as if we were a small child. Upon thinking this, I came to a realization. This plushie belongs to Encore. I know she never goes anywhere without it, but if this plush is here, then that means... Suddenly, a loud screeching noise could be heard from the room behind me. Through the doorway, I saw Encore's other stuffed toy, a black sheep with the same horns and eyes, but this time, it was not alone. It was in the grip of a massive 5-clawed hand, attached to the bulky arm that was part of a huge creature with thick, pink fur. My hand let go of the plushie, and when it hit the ground, it made a semi-loud squeaking noise. And immediately, the big, furry Tacit Discord turned its head towards me, looking through the doorway. Its black eyes had a red glow to them, and we held eye contact for what it seemed like eternity. Finally, the monster darted towards me with no intent of holding back. I turned behind me towards Baiji, who was still mentally recovering from all that happened within the last hour. I turned back towards the beast, and it was about 5 meters away from me. there was no hope for us now. I used my resonance abilities in order to stop time briefly. I savored the last moments I had, but then it was time to pull the trigger. The end. Oh my god, thank you. Please vote for me. I need the Battle Pass and the Lunai subscription. Okay. Yeah, that was awesome. Again, it's so fun reading all these things because it's so interesting, right? Like everyone has a different story. It's so nice. This one is made by IMA, and it starts off with Wuthering Waves and the casual player experience, an essay. Wuthering Waves is known to be a game with hard combat and challenging content. But how does it feel for the casual player? I'm very interested in this topic as a semi-casual who often plays with casuals and beginners and wants to ensure that they have the best experience possible without them investing too much time and effort. In the first paragraph, we will talk about how Wuthering Waves appeals to the casual player. Then in the second one, we will discuss the changes that they made through the development of the game to appeal to the casual players. Next, we will theorize about the future changes that can disturb a casual's experience. Finally, I will share my thoughts on the game so far, along with the possible improvements and suggestions. Wuthering Waves starts off with an intriguing story featuring a well-designed tutorial that is particularly helpful for beginners, as it thoroughly explains every aspect of character movement and combat. As this part, the game's fun character and enticing story keeps the player immersed and interested, which adds to the experience. Secondly, the stunning scenery in Wuthering Waves makes players feel excited to explore this vast new world. This feeling enhanced by smooth and fast character movements, including the wall dashing, grapple hook, and the double jump. Furthermore, the fact that this running doesn't consume stamina outside of the combat, making traversing the world such a treat. Finally, the game also features an innovative ecosystem which introduces a new layer to the combat and exploration by letting players catch various enemies and using them in combat like Pokemon. The system is a big game changer that adds much needed excitement to these types of games. To keep the experience as accessible as possible to the casual players, Wuthering Waves has done many changes to the betas and added quite a lot of features. First, they nerfed overworld bosses significantly, improved the ecosystem to be slightly less grindy, and made it easier to obtain turners. Secondly, they made the main character stronger and provided good free 5 stars, including a healer. They also offered 3 different ways to obtain 5-star standard characters and many asteroid rewards. As casual players usually want to play specific characters with little regard to meta, they can get pretty upset if they don't obtain their favorite character at the beginning and quit playing. I saw that happen personally to a friend of mine in another game. Finally, they rearranged and improved the story quests, especially at the beginning of the game, in order to make the first 2 hours of the gameplay as pleasant as possible. For instance, after meeting with Sanhua, there's a part where they tell you to ask children about the candy token. You can choose to talk to the kids to learn more if you're interested, but you can totally skip that part and just move on to the next quest. For a better story experience, they also added a skip feature and continue to improve it every update. Now let's talk about the future developments in Wuthering Waves that can break a casual's experience. First, introducing new bosses with very challenging mechanics like constant HP drain or an undodgeable one-shot attack if you can't perform a certain action within a specific time window. This can be very off-putting for casual players, especially if the boss drop is necessary for a character when they're building. Second, making existing endgame modes extremely challenging even for fully invested characters. This could frustrate a lot of players but casuals especially will be affected by this, as they may not have the time nor resources to further optimize their characters. Finally, power creep may become a concern down the line. More hardcore players may not mind the thrill of getting and building new characters every few patches, but many casuals don't like replacing their favorite characters, and if this latter becomes obsolete in the endgame, or worse, in the overworld, they might feel cornered and decide to quit the game, especially if the new characters don't appeal to them. Although I haven't finished the story yet, here are my thoughts on the game. So far, I find the story very engaging, and I'm eager to explore the world and delve deeper into the lore. I love building characters, and doing that by fighting hard bosses and learning their attack patterns is so much fun. I'm also very excited for co-op and what joys and variety it will bring to my gameplay. For my suggestions, I would appreciate faster gliding speeds, either through a gadget or by making the gliding keep the momentum if you're going to do that with the dash grapple combo, essentially making the glide affected by the physics and intraceable with the wind. I also recommend making the bushes and some trees destructible for overall better visibility, as more of them block the view in some fights or while solving puzzles. Finally, I think that the layered map feature is a huge quality of life feature, but they already announced that they are implementing it. Since the game is facing many performance issues, these struggles are for, after all of the suggestions are for, after all of the current bugs are fixed. Ultimately, the game is still in its very early stages, even though a lot of problems arise. I sincerely believe that with time, many improvements and better content will be introduced. I am very excited to see the progress of the story and witness this story till the end. All right, nice. That's pretty good. Ooh. Once again, this is from IMA, and we have one final essay that we need to read. Yeah, this video is going to be pretty long, but honestly, that's good. It's pretty good. All right, so the final one is from Turgman, and he starts off with, I woke up to a beeping sound last night. It was a long night that stretched into the small hours of the morning. Our target was able to summon TBs, and it looted us in the street of the city. But I sniffed him in the end, and he met my blades, as did all others. The bounty was for dead or alive, and I like to keep things simple. My net device beeped again, twice this time. At first, I ignored it. Our mercenary group has a special message that plays in case of emergencies. It was a long night. We shouldn't have a job today. No complications too. I went into my morning routine. It takes exactly 9 minutes and 42 seconds to get ready and step outside of my concealed apartment door. Luckily, I found a song that is exactly that length. As I'm about to dry up at that exact moment of the concerto, I am the storm that's approaching. 10 more beeps. I stopped. This must have been an emergency, and for some reason, they are using the normal massage group. I opened it and giggled. It's been years since the last time I smiled. It was a picture of me with a fake black wing flying above our planet. It was the mildest one, nicest one. I was surprised by myself and saw more and more my pristine glass mark and my non-caring gaze. I had begun to shatter. It was one of the most horrific things from my own mercenaries. People have fought shoulder to shoulder with doing this. The net device kept beeping. I always said my friends can become enemies in an instant. Rumors saw prejudices grow into misconceptions, and misconceptions produce this. I opened the links to find my name being mentioned many different times, and with the added suffix to you towards to the word husband and the obscene art that followed these, there have been many stories about my life, one about surviving a crusade against the entire country's cops, vault thieves, or war aboard. But this one triumphed all of them and started innocently enough. Me eating pizzas with friends, but then the pizza dripped, and a black-haired woman with glowing ember eyes came closer to my portrait and cleaned the cheese off my pants. While bending over the table, I scrolled once again. The picture caught my eye. The title was Letting Sleeping Dogs Die. Or Lie. And it had my face pasted on a sad golden retriever being hugged by a cat with a yin yang face on it. But worst of all must have been the angel meme again. Death, the city's burning, and me standing in front of that ember-eyed girl again, with a caption saying, "Our beloved planet is dying, slowly, silently, painfully. Can you bear to see the planet suffer, Rover?" They think I am death? They know nothing of death. Anger infused in me as electric currents ran free from my body, frying all of the technology inside my house. No more beeps, finally peace. I walked outside of my door, cutting it open with my blade to find decorative letters made from using gas canisters on the wall around my hideout. It read, "Calcharo, my cry bee." Okay. Not bad, not bad. So those are all 7 of the essays. Again, the first one was from Yuki. The second one was from Fool. The third one was from Cola Cola. The fourth one was from Raw. The fifth one was from Fishy. The sixth one was IMA. The seventh one, Turkman. Alright. Well, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys would like to see these cool people, then you should join the Discord. That's in the description below. If you guys want me to do more of these videos, let me know how the video, turns out to be. And, I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.